Hello and welcome back to Continental Club, where we discuss the hottest topics in European football. Joining us today is Henry Hill and Michael McCubs in the now regular lineup, but not fixed on Continental Club, although I am enjoying the consistency. Welcome aboard, boys. Henry, how are you on this Thursday morning?
I'm good, thank you. I'm a bit upset that my wild card Club Bruges got pretty comprehensively beat last night. So that's not good. But I've really enjoyed the Man United display. Thought that was really fun. Nice to see Demba Ba showing everyone he's still got it, rolling back the years. I didn't even know he still played football, quite frankly, let alone for Istanbul, Başakşehir here. So it was an amusing evening for someone with absolutely zero anything relying on the Champions League.
Absolutely, yeah. You just focus on your relegation battle. But McCubs, I mean, Demba Ba wasn't the only sort of 2013 Premier League star tearing it up against United last night, was it?
Yeah, no, Martin Skrtel rolling back the years, Raphael as well. To be honest, I know we count ourselves as European football experts on here, maybe a little bit exaggerating that kind of term, but yeah, I actually kind of no. Didn't have a. It actually hadn't crossed my mind that those players were at Istanbul. That was a weird one to see, but just what an awful game of football that was. Less said about it, the better, to be honest.
Not pretty, but luckily for you, we are not diving into Man United today, because instead we are talking the most underrated players in Europe, because at Cheeky999 said, who are the most underrated players in Europe right now that deserve more respect? Obviously the leagues have got going all across Europe. There's been some weird results, there's been some weird sort of table toppers at various different points so far this season, but there's certainly a number of players that definitely deserve more plaudits for their performances so far. But before we dive into that, just a quick reminder to subscribe to Eurofootball Daily and hit that notification bell to never miss a Continental Club. We do videos like this every single week and various different styles of videos, so welcome to the channel if you are new here. But McCubs, let's kick off with Zlatan, who definitely deserves a bit more respect, at least in Team FD maybe.
Yeah, I feel like he probably gets the respect he deserves in general, and I think that's maybe one of the reasons why people hate on him in the FD offices a bit, mainly because he's his kind of away from the pitch antics, the fact that he kind of bigs himself up as one of the great players. He kind of sees himself on level with kind of Ronaldo and Messi, doesn't he? At least he says he does.
Calls himself a lion as well.
Calls himself a lion as well. Away from the camera we were discussing.
He's been
at his age, maybe that's not the most mature thing to be doing. But what were you saying, Henry?
He's twice tweeted recently that he's the god of Milan, and I've just thought, wow. Oh my god! When you're younger, it was kind of funny, but now it's just.
He is at the moment, though. To be fair.
Oh well, all right. Well, I'm sure.
So, but
Mike can explain why.
It's quite a big claim, isn't it? I think he's probably been treated maybe a little bit unfairly in the office as a result of that, because everywhere he's gone, his record speaks for itself, doesn't it? Every club he's played at, aside from I'd say probably Barcelona, because there was a bit of a conflict of interest there, wasn't there? Came in at a time when Messi was really staking a claim to be the main man up top, and got pushed out to the right, didn't he? And that didn't really work out. But every other club he's been at, he's been the focal point of the attack. He's been the top scorer in pretty much every season. You can't really take that away from him. And I think in the wider football world, he does get the recognition he deserves. But equally, considering he was nearly let go by Milan in the summer, or at least it looked likely at one stage that he wasn't going to be offered a new contract. His start to this season is pretty amazing, isn't it? He returned obviously for Milan in January, scored 11 goals in 20 games until the end of the season. Helped really kick-start that second half kind of run that they went on that brought them up to 6th in the table. Only lost 2 of their final 20 games. Finished with 66 points, which is considering they were 11th at the turn of the year, was such a great recovery and probably kept Stefano Pioli in a job, to be honest. It is interesting because I think if they had followed through with Ralf Rangnick over the summer, I think Zlatan almost definitely would have been gone. You could just see those two have not seeing eye to eye, and Rangnick has come out in the media since saying that I can't remember what exactly he said, but basically saying that in the long term, Zlatan isn't a good thing for Milan, which I guess is maybe true. You know, he is getting on, and he can't play forever, despite him, despite his performances suggesting otherwise at the moment. Because this season he's just been unreal, hasn't he? 7 games in all competitions, and he's got 8 goals and 2 assists already. So he's got 7 goals and 1 assist in 4 Serie A games. That alone is incredibly impressive, isn't it? But obviously, as we like to do at FD and AFD, we like to kind of look behind that, because there's always a chance that players might be overperforming a little bit, going through a little bit of purple patch, and it looks like that might slow down. And with Zlatan, I think it probably will slow down to an extent, but judging by his output, I don't know how much it will. I think he actually is a contender for Golden Boot this season. He's taking 4.5 shots a game, which is actually, I think, better than what he was managing at PSG in 2015-16, when he scored 50 goals or 51 goals or whatever it was. I think when you switch that to per 90, the PSG season does edge it. But still, that is incredibly impressive, considering that was 4 years ago and he was 35 then. He's also averaging 1.5 key passes a game, completing nearly a dribble a game. Expected goals and expected assists per 90 has him at about 1.28, which is better than what Messi was managing last season. There's every chance that he's going to carry on this form. And it feels like he's kind of moulded his game a little bit. Obviously, he's still creating chances, and it's easy to look at his goal output and be like, oh, that's why teams have gone for him in the past. But he does offer a lot more as a centre forward, doesn't he? His all round centre forward play is exceptional. I know at United he was accused a little bit of kind of slowing down play a little bit, but overall the quality of attacking play at Man United did take a big step up when he was on the pitch, especially when he was kind of linking up with Paul Pogba and whatnot. And I think at Milan, because it's such a young squad, he kind of complements them quite well. And I think he's kind of moulded his game a little bit more to become more of a penalty box operator. Because I think of his 4.5 shots a game, I think he's taking nearly 4 shots in the box, which is more than Mo Salah. I think it would rank pretty highly in the Premier League, to be fair. But yeah, more than Mo Salah is pretty astounding. Considering that Mo Salah arguably has better creators around him. And the impact he's had is there to see, isn't it? They're top of the table, 4th for expected goals, 4th for expected goals against, but they're top according to expected points, which suggests that that the results have gone their way. The results that have gone their way have been deserved. Pretty impressive given one of their key players, Ante Rebic, last season. He's only been fit enough to play about 166 minutes. Then Rafa Leao stepped up, hasn't he? I think with Ibra staying, I think it's become clear that Rafael Leao is going to take a lot more of a kind of creative role. He's already got 2 goals, but he's already got 3 assists as well. 2 of them have come for Zlatan, 2 excellent assists for him. He's averaging 1.5 shots, 1.5 key passes, completing over 3 dribbles as well. David Calabria at right back, we've spoken about him before, haven't we? He's been excellent, played almost every minute so far. He's averaging over 6 tackles and interceptions per 90. Excellent in a side which has generally set out to dominate this season. The midfield is also functioning pretty well. Kessié, Benacer, Çalhanoğlu, all in pretty good form. I guess in the Europa League as well, they started really brightly as well, and they've been integrating Tonali and Brahim Diaz into that midfield in the Europa, which is just when you're playing against lesser sides, that is a great midfield to be able to call on, isn't it? So much fun in those 2 players. Generally AC Milan are looking really good, and we're going to probably talk about them a lot more across the season, especially if their results continue. But Zlatan has really been quite an unlikely star, I think. I know he was great at the end of last season, but it really did look a little bit touch and go for a while in the summer whether he was actually going to stay in Milan. It felt like that might have been his swan song in a top 5 league, but judging by this, if he carries this on, like there's every chance he might sign another contract and go for another season. Like I really don't think that's out of the question. So yeah,
you have to think the way that he plays, because he doesn't rely on blistering pace. And aside from that injury he got, that really unfortunate injury he got at Manchester United, he has pretty much kept himself in immaculate condition. Yeah. He is, you can't actually doubt his professionalism. No. He's got that Cristiano Ronaldo devotion to sort of his body and maintaining his physical fitness. And you're right, like if on the basis that he's still just an unbelievably clinical finisher and he knows how to operate in the box, there's every chance he could play for longer. And he always said he was going to play to 40. So I think, it is testament just to his general professionalism that he's even in this situation where he's still, he went to America. I don't think anyone would have forgiven him for winding down his career out there, but he obviously felt that he was good enough to come back and produce something. And I actually disagree with what Ralf Rangnick said. At the end of the day, AC Milan are about being in the Champions League. They're about being on the biggest stage. I think it's all well and good becoming a club which like develops young players and reinventing yourself that way, but for me personally, in my opinion, AC Milan aren't really about that. They're about being the best they can possibly be, and if he can get them into the level where they're earning money through Champions League revenue and they can get some consistent appearances and start attracting those younger players, then surely that's a good thing, because he's obviously quite a pivotal player in reasserting AC Milan at the top end of Serie A right now.
Yeah. I mean, we forget as well. He was out with COVID for a week or two, wasn't he? At the start of this season as well, and like, I mean, I guess it's difficult to say, but like, it's definitely been evident with other players that being out with COVID and coming back has taken a little while. I know definitely with like Paul Pogba at the start of the season, that looked like a factor. He looked quite off the pace, and I don't know, maybe Zlatan had quite a mild case of it, but like, for an older player to come back and not really look too affected by it is pretty impressive as well.
He's just the perfect person to have as they sort of transition into, they've got the youngest side in Europe, I think, even with Zlatan playing, which is just insane. And it's quite a difficult period for the club in that they're trying to redevelop the San Siro. They still don't own the rights to the San Siro, so their finances haven't been in the best of shape. So this moving towards a younger team, which will then hopefully have a sell-on value, is the right idea. They're very keen on their analytics now, and massive credit to Maldini and people like that behind the scenes who have really sort of led a shift. But Zlatan's been the perfect sort of front man for it, and you mentioned about his body, and that's really come in handy so far. I mean, some of the goals he's scored, bicycle kicks, the dexterity to pick up balls way above his head, and he's become just the ultimate sort of penalty box predator. He's not doing so many shots from outside the box. He's just really operating, using his physicality in that 18-yard box, and he's absolutely lethal. So fair play to Zlatan. Never been the biggest fan of him off outside of the pitch, but on it, what an absolute behemoth of a player who deserves definitely more respect. Henry, let's move over to Spain now, where Real Sociedad are flying high, and I know you're a big fan of Mikel Merino in particular, but I want you to talk about another Mikel Oyarzabal, who has started the season on absolute flames.
Yeah, you're right. Sociedad's top of the league. They're sort of the early front runners in La Liga. They've scored 18 goals as well, which is the most. It's 5 more than Real Madrid and Atletico. It should be mentioned, Atletico do have 2 games in hand. But yeah, Sociedad are flying, and much of that is down to Mikel Oyarzabal. You're right, their winger. I was intrigued to see. So obviously last year, Sociedad they emerged as this kind of young attacking threat with really exciting players through the front line. Then they lost Odegaard. He obviously went back to Real Madrid, and I was intrigued to see if that maybe would hinder them. Obviously, David Silva has come in. So the thing about Mikel Oyarzabal, he's only 23, but he does feel as if he's been around for a long time. His name's been popping up. I imagine you guys have been in the FD office longer than me. I imagine you've been talking about him for a few years now. And he's been an incredibly consistent performer for the side. In 16-17, he had 17 goal contributions, and then 15 the year after that. And last year, 21. During this time, as I said, they emerged as quite a fun, creative force. So that's 4 years now, and he's only missed 5 league games in that time. So yeah, as I said, he's been around. And he scored 50 goals for his club and been capped 9 times by Spain, and even captained Sociedad so far. He's from the Basque countries. I think he's a local lad there, and they're very proud to play for their local clubs. And he's obviously, delivering consistently, which is really impressive. And this season, like you said, he's hit the ground running too with 5 goals. And his shots have jumped from 2.6 in 1920 to 3.7 this term, which is huge, actually. And key passes from 1.5 to 2.2. Well, his dribbles are about 1.3 per 90 as well. So all really, really impressive stats. And this isn't even... He's not their pivotal striker. I think Alexander Isak tends to occupy that position. So yeah, he's been excellent. If you look at what all that boils down to, he's currently operating at 1.14 expected goals and assists per 90, which is up from 0.47 last season. So this is really impressive. That's more than Heung-min Son's expected to contribute right now. Lionel Messi. So he's playing at the top of his game. So one of the reasons he's being so prolific in front of goal right now is he's actually got a 47% shot on target rate. And also, it says here he attempts 18.5 pressures per 90 with a very good completion rate of 39%, which should give you an idea of just how kind of rounded he is as a workforce on the pitch. He's closing down opposition defenders at a relentless pace and, being quite successful in that as well. So yeah, so he's kind of the whole package this season. I don't know if you guys have managed to have a look at him, but he's really, Spain, I think the Spanish team in general is going through a really interesting transitional period. And you're blooding in Ansu Fati, even like Dani Olmo's playing a lot of games for them right now. And Oyarzabal, he really looks like the guy who could muscle his way into their starting 11, especially the Euros coming up. He's looking like he's going to be a regular fixture in there, because obviously they've been experimenting using a lot of different players. But Oyarzabal, you can't deny the level that he's been operating at. Sociedad just have such an exciting young team right now. 19 of players have played at least 90 minutes of the team this season. Only 6 are above the age of 25, which gives you an idea, really exciting what they've got going on there. Xabi Alonso, my man, he's part of the backroom setup there. So yeah, I think Oyarzabal, like I said, he's been around for as we said, he's been around for a fair amount of time, and maybe now he's only really getting the kind of established respect he deserves, because he's consistently performing at a high level. It's not like he has one good season and drops off. He's consistently there and thereabouts, posting some unbelievable numbers. So yeah, I really think this could be his year to assert himself, well into that kind of 50 million euro plus category as the kind of player.
Well, absolutely. I remember the year before this one, just before Leroy Sané got injured and was thinking about leaving for Bayern as well that summer as well. Man City were thinking about Sané Oyarzabal, and he was linked to the move there. And then I'm not really sure what happened in terms of why they didn't go for him this summer and instead they went for Ferran Torres. Maybe they were looking for someone that primarily operates off the right, with
the price as well,
Riyad
right?
Mahrez being slightly older, rather than Oyarzabal, who primarily is on the left. But I think Oyarzabal looks like an excellent player, and it's so good to see him, consistently performing in La Liga. Looks like one of the better wingers in that whole division, really. And as you say, making it known for Spain as well. I think he's played about nine caps now, and majority of those coming in the last 18 months. So really finding his feet there. And then they've also got, not just Alexander Isak, but they can also move in Willian Jose, who was linked with Spurs this summer. Another excellent striker, although I think he's only got one league goal to his name so far this year. So, things are looking pretty good for Alguacil's men, Real Sociedad. And I'd be surprised if they managed to sustain a title challenge. But with the weaknesses of Barcelona and Real Madrid this season, if they keep in and around the mix come February, a top 4 finish is definitely achievable. I wanted to talk about another player in Spain, in Fede Valverde, who has been absolutely superb this season. The 22-year-old Uruguayan. He's actually similar to Oyarzabal. He's actually been on the scene for a little while, but it was really last year that he came to the fore. I wasn't quite aware, really, that he made 25 appearances in 2018-19 in all competitions, but last year, 44 appearances, 33 of which were in the league, as they continue to phase out Luka Modric out of the first team. And he's made an enormous difference in that side. He's maybe not got the sort of class or the finesse of a Luka Modric yet, and he's probably not as creative as a Toni Kroos, but in terms of legs in that midfield alongside Casemiro, he's absolutely crucial. He covers the ground so well, he makes really good late runs into the box, and it's really come to fruition so far this season. He's got 3 goals and 1 assist in 10 League and Champions League games. And his work rate can't really be faulted either. He's at nearly 4 tackles and interceptions per 90. Kroos out of interest is at 3.3 and Modric at 2.8. So, we've talked for a while that Real Madrid need to bring in another defensive midfielder to help out Casemiro. But actually, when Valverde plays, he makes such a difference because his work rate, he's always in the right place at the right time, and he's got the legs to affect, in the final third as well. And he's firing off 1.4 shots, he's creating 1.2 key passes, and also completing 1.6 dribbles. He's actually currently operating at 0.56 expected goals and assists per 90, which for a midfielder and a midfield 3 is absolutely superb. I think sort of elite wingers should be around the 0.65 level. So he's really, really stepping up in terms of his productivity in the final third and keeping his defensive numbers really promising as well. So Fede Valverde definitely deserves more respect. And he's performed in some big games so far. He got a goal against Real Betis, he got a goal in El Clasico to open the scoring, and got a goal and assist against Huesca at the weekend, which doesn't on paper sound like the biggest game. But after Real Madrid's troubles in the Champions League last week against Borussia Mönchengladbach, that game against Huesca felt absolutely massive. And that win has pretty much set them on course to top La Liga if they win that game in hand, of course, because Real Sociedad still are 1 point ahead, I believe. But yeah, Fede Valverde definitely deserves more respect. But I've got a couple of other names that I'd want to mention as well. Dominik Szoboszlai as well, 20-year-old Hungarian. Maybe not in terms of deserves more respect because he's definitely emerging onto the scene, but I think he definitely deserves more plaudits or more interest. He's been absolutely superb so far this season. 5 goals in 12 games, 2 goals in 3 Champions League games as well, and didn't have the best of games against Bayern Munich on Tuesday. Gave away a penalty, but so far he's looked Champions League level, which at 20, playing for a club like RB Salzburg, who haven't had Patson Daka for their last Champions League game as well, is pretty impressive. 2.3 shots and 3 key passes per 90 in the Champions League is definitely something to start getting really, really excited about. Another name that we wanted to give a bit of credit to is Jonathan Bamba Henry, because he's been exceptional at Lille so far this season.
No, I completely agree with you. I just wanted to say quickly, Fede Valverde, I completely agree. That red card against Atletico Madrid, that's still one of my favourite moments of the whole last season.
Ultimate team man.
Yeah, when Diego Simeone's nodding, tipping his hat to see that kind of activity, it was great. But yeah, Jonathan Bamba's a really interesting one actually. Because if anyone follows him, he's a winger for Lille, and in 18-19 he was incredible. He sort of burst onto the scene with 13 goals and 3 assists in 38 league games. And you'd have expected a lot of activities being around him, but obviously he stayed. And the reason you maybe haven't heard about him much since is because the 24-year-old's form pretty much collapsed last season with just 1 goal and 6 assists in 32 league and Champions League games. So when all the activity around their players kicks off in the summer, Jonathan Bamba's name wasn't actually there. But he's definitely back this season. In 9 league appearances, he's got 4 goals and 4 assists so far. No one has more goal contributions in France. To give you context, Mbappe only has 7. And if we look at his numbers, he's operating really well right now. 2.1 shots, 1.3 key passes and 2 dribbles per 90. And he's helped Lille, a really exciting Lille side, to second into the league, just 2 points behind PSG. Fingers crossed someone can sustain a title challenge against them. And it's really important actually that he has stepped up. If we consider that Jonathan David just can't score for love or money. I mean, the poor bloke missed a penalty the other day, which was, he was gifted the opportunity to score and he couldn't even do it. But yeah, Bamba, I think he's really exciting. Like I said, 24 years old, good age. And it's really reassuring to see him back to his best, and it kind of shows that you shouldn't write off a player every time after one bad season.
Absolutely, he's benefited from a bit more faith, a bit more time in that team. And sometimes with these players in France, we're always like, oh, they need to move abroad, they need to test themselves. Maybe he's just found a very good level at a club on the up in Lille, and well played and fair play to him. And quite a few of their players have started the season really well. Jonathan Okone's looked good as well. Burak Yilmaz, who's about 35, Turkish striker, has really stepped up without Jonathan David doing too much as of yet. The final player we wanted to mention, McCubs, is Andre Silva, who's had a topsy-turvy last few years, but has seemed to find a permanent home and a permanent place in Germany.
Yeah, obviously, it was just that AC Milan move, really, wasn't it, for Andre Silva that kind of threatened to kind of stagnate his career, but obviously did very well on loan at Sevilla, didn't he, originally, and then went on loan to Eintracht last season. Obviously, Ante Rebic went the other way, which worked out pretty well for him as well. performed exceptionally well. 16 goals in 37 games in all competitions last term. Obviously really came alive after that restart, didn't he? Helped Frankfurt kind of move up the table a little bit after what was a fairly disappointing first half of the season. He was trying to replace, him and Kostic together were trying to replace the output of Haller and Jovic from the previous term, weren't they? And did a pretty good job of it, at least towards the end of the season in Silva's case. So the club signed him permanently in September, 3-year contract. That kind of cut his 2-year kind of proposed loan spell in half, as it were. But I think it's really good that he's got his permanent move, like you were saying, Dukes. I think his career just seemed a little bit up in the air, didn't it? Clearly, it wasn't going to happen for him at Milan. But like you say, it seems like he's found a good home in Frankfurt, somewhere where he can really be the focal point. And so far this season, he's been superb. 6 Bundesliga appearances, and in those appearances, 4 goals and an assist. He's taken 4.7 shots per 90, nearly a key pass, completing over a dribble, operating at 1.21 expected goals and assists per 90. I know we're throwing out these like quite big numbers here, and we do have to kind of take it with a pinch of salt. This is only after 6 weeks of the season. These are all probably going to come down a little bit, but even so, excellent start to the campaign. And obviously, and also actually, it is a really weird season. This, isn't it? This is probably going to be perhaps the weirdest season in kind of modern football history. It already is, to be honest. And so it's actually quite hard to predict whether players will drop off, or whether they will just keep on going, or whether injury will curtail their season, or whether defenses are going to be giving up better opportunities more often. It's really hard to tell. And judging by the fact that a lot of players have really exploded at the start of this season, and some unexpected players, then maybe we will see we'll see kind of heightened output from unlikely sources. But Andre Silva does just seem to be building on what was a very excellent end to the previous season. So hopefully he can keep that up, and Frankfurt can kind of nestle their way into that kind of top 6 bracket once again.
Yep. No, I think it will. I think it could well happen this year, with Bayer Leverkusen sort of struggling to convert draws into wins at the start of this season. So Eintracht Frankfurt could be in the mix, and Andre Silva is part of a really exciting crop of young Portuguese players that seem to be maturing at just the right time as well. Raf Guerreiro, João Cancelo, Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva. I feel like I'm definitely missing someone really. Diogo Jota, of course.
João Felix,
of course. Like, Portugal have a really good team, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did very well in next summer's Euros. Outside bet, I'm saying it now, Portugal. Guys, that's all we've got time for our first section of Continental Club. But I want to know from you, which other players haven't we mentioned that deserve more respect for their performances so far this season? Get them in the comments below, and let's move on to our big match preview. There are some absolutely massive games this weekend, just before the international break, just in time. In Spain, the pick is probably Valencia versus Real Madrid. In Italy, there's Juventus versus Lazio. There's also Atalanta versus Inter Milan. 2 cracking ties over there. But the game we want to focus on is the big one in Germany. It's bloody Der Klassiker between Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich. They're currently level on points and only separated by goal difference. Bayern have a +4 goal difference, I believe, on them. So this is absolutely massive in establishing control before the next international break. Henry, let's kick off with the host Borussia Dortmund, because it's been a pretty solid start to the season for Lucien Favre's side.
That's true. They've won 5 of their 6 opening Bundesliga games. That only defeat coming against Augsburg on match day 2. It's funny, Lucien Favre, I feel as if we run hot and cold about him on Continental Club.
I like to bitch about him,
yeah, fair play to them. They've got to hit the ground running. And since then, they've played 4 league games, scored 10 goals and conceded none at all. They're the joint best defensive record in Europe, along with Atletico Madrid. The only downside has been their Champions League form, which they've struggled. They've been a bit inconsistent. They lost that opening game away to Lazio 3-1. And, they didn't look great against Zenit, although they did end up winning 2-0. But both of those goals, it's worth mentioning, came after the 78th minute. Obviously, last night they went and rolled over Club Bruges. But
your boys.
a real heartbreaking moment for me.
It's too painful to talk about.
I'm not gonna read too deep into that. I think at the end of the day, part of the reason they did is because Erling Haaland, he scored 2. I mean, what an absolute monster. I think I saw Jay's Instagram post today, the guy that does all of our funds and whatnot, and he apparently Haaland's already scored as many goals as Brazilian Ronaldo in the Champions League.
Really? That's nuts.
He's scored against every team he's played, hasn't he? As well.
Which is just bonkers, really. I like him. I've actually been watching a fair bit of the Dortmund's YouTube channel. He's quite funny.
He is quite funny, actually, yeah.
They do these little games when he's with Thomas Delaney or even like Gio. But anyway, I digress. He's been immense in attack. 5 goals, 2 assists and 5 league games. And a goal contribution every 55 minutes. I think if you're a keeper and he's bearing down on you 1-on-1, it's pretty horrendous, terrifying sight. 4 shots, 1.9 key passes per 90, 1.07 expected goals and assists per 90. 5th for expected goals per 90 in Germany, which actually surprises me. Behind Lewandowski, Kramaric, Andre Silva, and Niklas Füllkrug. I think. Obviously you'll go into it, McCubs in a moment, but this is the clash of 2 of the most informed strikers in world football right now, and I think that's really that's going to dominate the narrative of this game. But it's interesting, Dortmund, he didn't play last weekend, but fear not, Mats Hummels popping up with a double. He's their second top goal scorer with 3 goals. But I mean, his defensive numbers are still equally impressive. I think it was such a good signing to bring him back, especially with their kind of younger guys running through. But actually, he is a doubt for the game. He is a doubt for the game tomorrow with a bit of a thigh strain. But yeah, I mean, Dortmund are just looking brilliant in general, I think. They ranked 3rd for shots behind Leipzig and Bayern. 1st for shots against with just 6.2, which is actually bonkers. If you look at any stats of the Premier League, 8.4, that's sort of the 9 region is normally where it lies. So to be at 6.2, down from 10.4 in 1920, that shows how they've worked on that kind of defensive formation and that shape. Been brilliant. And we were talking a few weeks, their poor form against Lazio was maybe to blame for the fact that Akanji and a few of the other guys in defence are actually missing with injury. But once they've got them all back, they're really solid outfits. So yeah, I'm excited. Julian Brandt is looking good again, which is good. He's creating 3.7 chances per 90. Sancho hasn't been quite his best. I think they said that the Manchester United rumours maybe got in his head, so United causing havoc wherever they go. And but yeah, 0 goals, 2 assists so far, but he's still creating 2.1 chances and completing a silly 4.2 dribbles per 90. I think he will improve with time, but it's nice to see Julian Brandt rediscover some form. I think people were a bit worried about whether or not he was going to sort of remain a regular fixture in that side. And Bellingham has made also a really nice contribution as well. I'd like to mention him too. Yeah. But yeah, it's really exciting. After the international break, they've got Hertha Berlin, who've been really disappointing this season so far. Club Brugge, Cologne as well, who haven't been great, and then Lazio and Frankfurt, all in the space of 15 days. This is nuts. So yeah, if they can win this, that will set them up for a very exciting couple of weeks to come.
Absolutely, yeah. It feels like to be this close to Bayern with that sort of outstanding defence, with that Zagadou, Schmelz has been missing as well, is really pretty impressive. And without Jadon Sancho playing at his best yet, so just imagine the sort of havoc they can cause when he does. But yeah, Erling Haaland, what a player, and so unselfish as well, which is really rare for a striker. So young and just so lethal in front of goal as well. He's always prepared to play the pass across to his teammates. He looks like a really good team player. And I agree with you. Watching their YouTube channel occasionally, he's quite a funny character. He's pretty out there and a massive personality, as you'd expect. So well done to Erling Haaland and well done to Lucien Favre. But well it's going to be a big test this weekend against Bayern Munich McCubs, who just keep on rolling on.
Yeah, obviously they had that early season scare against Hoffenheim, didn't they? Lost 4-1. But since then they've just been bulldozing teams, haven't they? Won their last 9 games in all competitions. In those games they scored 33 goals and conceded 10. So yeah, operating at over 3 goals a game, conceding over a goal a game as well, which I guess is probably one of their worries, isn't it? They've only kept 4 clean sheets in 11 games this season. They've gone from conceding 0.9 goals per league game, which is actually quite high considering how dominant they were last season. But you do forget that the start of the campaign was fairly poor from them. But now they're conceding 1.5 goals a game, which is super high. And we've spoken about it before. Even towards the end of last season, that there was a bit of a worry about the high line that they play, and obviously that's part of why they are so such a lethal team going forward, isn't it? But yeah, as we saw, in those late Champions League games, that they could get caught out on the break as a result, and that seems to have been a little bit of a problem for them in the early stages of the season. However, when the attack's so good, they're able to legislate for that, aren't they? That RB Salzburg game in midweek, a game that looked like it could have gone either way, up until the last 10 minutes, and then those goals from Boateng and Sane and Hernandez, and obviously Lewandowski got his second. Just completely, they just have that. They have that in them, don't they? Late in games to be able to just switch it on, like they do kind of across the whole course of a season as well. Which I think is, despite them, the defence not looking so good at the start of the campaign, I'd still put them as fairly heavy favourites for the title. So in that Salzburg game, they had 21 shots with 10 on target. They actually did concede 18 shots as well. But I guess when you have players of that kind of experience and quality up top, you're always going to be more clinical, even if you're creating a similar amount of opportunities to the opposition. And that Champions League form has translated to the league as well. They're taking 17 shots a game. That's topped actually by RB Leipzig, but they average 7.7 on target a game, which is the best record in Germany, and actually in Europe's top 5 leagues as well. I think Napoli are the only ones who get close to them on 7.4 shots on target a game. But yeah, like we were saying, the defence, compared to Dortmund's at least, is looking a bit more shaky. 10 shots on target, not 10 shots on target, sorry, they're conceding 10 shots a game, which is actually 3.8 more than Dortmund, as Henry was saying, and 0.7 more than the last campaign. But I guess, there's been some mitigating factors there. Injuries to Niklas Süle, although they actually dealt with his injury very well last season, didn't they? Alphonso Davies as well has been out, and David Alaba's contract situation, which is a little bit worrying for Bayern fans, I think, if he goes. That's meant they've had to kind of swap and change that back line a little bit in the early weeks. But obviously the key player, like we were saying, Robert Lewandowski, 5 Bundesliga appearances, 10 goals, 3 assists, averaging a goal every 28 minutes at the That's just insane, isn't it?
Bonkers.
That's even better than what he was averaging last year. And like we were saying, it's early days. But considering Lewandowski basically did not stop last term, and hasn't looked in danger of doing so this term, I can only see him kind of carrying on that form, at least at a very high fraction of that output. So yeah, that's pretty ridiculous, isn't it? He's taking 7.1 shots a game, 1.5 key passes, 2.1 expected goals and assists per 90. I mean, that's just, that is just stupid, isn't it? We don't really need to discuss that any further.
McCubs is resigning. He's just he's done.
It's insane, isn't it? It's insane. For comparison, that Dougie's very, very nicely put down here on the notes. Lionel Messi, when he contributed 61 league goals in 2014-15, he averaged a goal contribution every 55 minutes. So to be averaging one every 28 minutes is just stupid. But
are you suggesting he's going to score 122 goals this season?
I'm not suggesting anything.
I am. I'll put it out there.
But I mean But it's mad because even if he carries on at half that pace, it will still be a ridiculous season for him, wouldn't it? I can't do the maths, but he's on course to better his tally from last term already, isn't he? And last term was the best of his career. So and speaking of players who continue to excel beyond the age of 30, Müller been great once again, 4 goals and 4 assists already. But arguably Kimmich has been he has been the guy who's probably been getting the most praise, hasn't he, this term? 2 goals and 7 assists in 8 league and UCL games this term. I saw, I can't remember who it was from the office, was it Jay or Sam, who was talking about Kimmich and De Bruyne, who's the better central midfielder. I think they were both
debate.
arguing that Kimmich was a better central midfielder, which is a pretty crazy claim, but equally, in terms of form this season, it's hard to look past Kimmich among central midfielders in Europe, isn't it? 3.6 tackles and interceptions, which is insane for a club who average over 60% possession each game, 1.3 shots a match, 2.5 key passes per 90. Very, very impressive stuff. 10.2 progressive passes per 90, 16.2 pressures. I know that's a lot of numbers to take in just there, but that basically, very much sums up just what an all-action player he is, how much he has to his game. He can create, he can defend, he can progress play as well. And doing a very good job of masking the absence of Thiago, isn't he? We spoke a lot in the early weeks of the season, or the weeks building up to the season, that Bayern selling Thiago, or Thiago leaving Bayern, because I don't think they really had much of a choice in the matter today. But Thiago leaving Bayern was going to leave them with a little bit of a hole in the midfield, and they might struggle a bit in that sense. And to be fair, maybe their defence has had a little bit less cover as a result. But in terms of having a player who can, in the long term, replace Thiago, Kimmich is really one of the best out there, isn't he? And obviously a lot younger as well. And we only expect to see him get better and better in the next 3 or 4 years. Bayern doing great right now. Yeah, there are worries about their defence, but when you've got some of the world's best players in their position playing some of the best football in their career in the midfield and attack, you still back them, don't you?
Yeah, you've got to kind of back them. I mean, Kimmich is, it kind of gone a bit under the radar in that Lewandowski has grabbed most of the headlines, as he always does in Bavaria. But Kimmich, those like chips through balls that he's so good at doing with his right foot to the back post. He's just an outrageous passer. And doesn't shirk his defensive duties either. He is like such a fun player to watch. I absolutely love watching Kimmich. And in terms of injuries, I've already gone over the Dortmund ones, but Bayern, Süle is out with COVID. Alphonso Davies is now long-term out, but they've got Luka Hernandez there. And Goretzka is a doubt as well, which is a shame because he's played really well at the start of this season as well. Absolute beast of a player. In terms of form going into this game, Bayern have completely dominated this fixture in recent years. Get this, they've won 12 of their last 17 meetings, losing 4 and drawing just 1. So I don't think there'll be any draws predicted right now. Henry, what's your score prediction?
Well, actually, last week I got Mönchengladbach right. I was quite pleased about that.
Good man.
Yeah.
So let's go again. I just think there's goals in this for Dortmund. They're, like I said, defensively strong, and I think that high line, Barcelona, Bayern Munich are going to be susceptible to some goals. So I reckon this is going to be a goal fest. I'm going to go 3-2.
3-2. Wow, love it. Okay, McCubs, what do you reckon?
God. I feel like Jadon Sancho could have a little bit of could maybe announce himself a little bit this season down that right side, catching them on the break. But I feel like if the Westfalen Stadium was full, I would maybe back Dortmund to do it, but because they don't quite have that kind of same home advantage as they usually would. I'm gonna say 3-1 Bayern.
Ooh, it kind of hinges on Hummels for me. If he is out, which if he's a doubt, then it would have to be like a Kanji and Witzel or Delaney or Piszczek maybe playing at the back there. And it's just not as strong without Hummels. I'm kind of with Henry. I think I was completely wrong on that Hummels signing at the time. I think I criticised it quite heavily just because I thought it was a bit of an overpay, but he has made an enormous difference. I'm going to go with 4-1 to Bayern, to be honest.
4-1 to Bayern?
They can rip apart any side.
No side of Thomas Meunier is getting ripped open 4-1. I'm telling you now.
You love Thomas Meunier. It's one of the weirdest crushes I've ever come across in the Football Daily sphere. Okay, 4-1's a bit dramatic, but whatever. I would have probably gone 3-2, but you went 3-2. So I'm going 4-1. Guys, get your score predictions in the comments down below. And we're not actually going to do a quick fire question this week because I didn't actually particularly rate any of them. But I've got a little question for you guys because I don't know about you, but in the last week or two, I've really started to miss the crowds in football. I don't know, I think I was so pleased about, football coming back in March, and then it was so fun in March, in May, June, and then it seemed all great towards the end of the year. The Champions League was awesome, but I just feel like there's something missing from all leagues at the moment, and it is just that crowd, that sort of intensity that it brings, and it's leading to some weird results and some weird games, which is fun, but I'm just really missing the crowds. I mean, McCubs, do you agree with me on that? Is it something you've really noticed?
Yeah, massively. Like initially when, the restart happened in the summer, it was very understandable, wasn't it? And the kind of football is nothing without the fans thing was relevant, but also it was kind of like, you just got to do what you got to do.
Get on with it, yeah.
Whereas now, I think after a few months, it's a lot more. I don't know. It's a lot more noticeable, and it's become kind of normal as well. As I can't even. That's the thing. I can't even remember what it was like really watching football with fans, and also on a personal level, I obviously love going to non-league games, and having that missing from my life in a kind of selfish way, I guess, is something I've really missed actually. Just going down to games on Saturday afternoons, and obviously it's a lot more of a casual. A bit more of a casual atmosphere at a lot of non-league grounds. Obviously, it's not you're not among 30,000 plus people, but that's something that is quite it's quite an integral part of our culture, isn't it?
Absolutely,
as football fans at least. And so missing that, it is really sad. And a lot of clubs are doing really good work to combat it, at least in terms of showing football, your clubs doing kind of free streams on YouTube and stuff, and they're doing really well. But obviously, they need support from gate receipts and whatnot. So it's a tough one. Sure. I'm very much hoping that there can be a kind of more long-term solution to getting fans back in stadiums, at least in England, because I know in Germany and in other countries in Europe they are managing to get kind of limited crowds back, aren't they? But
it's been so cool watching some Europa League games and Champions League games with the crowd in places in Eastern Europe in particular. I don't know whether their COVID situation is just a bit different, or maybe their health and safety is. I don't want to judge them, but it's really cool hearing some crowds come back. I mean, Henry, are you missing trips to the cottage at the moment when Ola Reina and Adam Lukman are tearing it up?
Yeah, you're not wrong. No, I ran during the summer. I ran past there a few times. Anyone who's been lucky enough to go to Craven Cottage, it's such a beautiful facade. But I mean, there was an interview David Silva the other day saying how he loved playing at the historic grounds of England, like Villa Park and Craven Cottage. They were more interesting to him than, say, the Emirates and stuff like that. And it's true. I just think a lot of these great grounds from the Premier League, they're missing their fans. I feel so sorry for Leeds that there's no one in the stadium in Ellen Road to see what's going on there. Aston Villa, now they're sort of playing well again. That'd be exciting to see. I definitely think I actually quite enjoy watching the game without crowd noise, especially if it's good. It can be a real make or break. If it's a poor game with no fan noise, then it's substantially more dull as a spectacle. But when you can hear them talking, I think it's quite interesting. But yeah, also AFC Wimbledon, I've got a real soft spot for them. It's my family's team growing up, and the idea that they're going to go back to Plough Lane this week and no one's going to be able to go and see, watch that new game in the new stadium, I think that's a real shame. But yeah, I really look forward to. I'm really looking forward to the fans coming back. I think it's a shame that they haven't been able to engineer some kind of way to it. But like I said, I actually don't dislike watching a game without fan noise.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's what I'll be asking Santa for Christmas, to bring back the crowds. But guys, that's all we've got time for on Continental Club for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We did Under the Radar Stars, we did Classica, we talked about crowds. Hope you enjoyed, the selection of topics we covered. Henry, you never really know what to push to.
No, I do. I actually
do. Henry, what would you like to push to this week?
Dougie, I'd really thought about it in preparation. No, I was going to say, look, Dougie, you started the Football Pyramid and it's brilliant. It's timeless. You don't need to know what's going on to watch it. Go back, and if you want to waste a few hours, go back and watch a few of the Football Pyramids, and you can watch Mikey fail to ever complete it. It's very exciting. Yeah. I've just let the cat out of the bag, but go back and watch some of those.
Absolutely. And tomorrow it's Chris versus Joe in a very tight episode, actually. McCubs, is there anything you'd like to push to?
We put out a scout report yesterday, scripted excellently by Henry here, on Atletico Madrid and why they're the favourites for La Liga. That, we've got a trademark on that. That's what we're sticking our necks out there. Make of that what you will. But no, really good video. Go and check that out. Go and check out our top 10s, obviously Football Pyramid as well. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't done already, obviously.
Perfect. Have a great weekend, guys. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week. Bye.